Hello. So I've just finished my 2 days of time with the North Texas Visioning Conference for the 2015-2016 school year. And when I went to the conference, I really thought a lot about how I could improve as a teacher in terms of formative assessment. I've been teaching for 3 years at a local high school. I teach ninth grade world geography at a local high school in the Dallas Metroplex. And one of the things that, as I talked to friends and other colleagues that were teachers about some of the things that they would like to learn or like to get better at as a teacher, one thing that was really common between everybody was formative assessment. Excuse me, and really preparing these formative assessments, being completely ready to assess your students at different times within a lesson, within a class period, and that way our planning gets better as well, because you're able to holistically and completely plan and teach your students. So one of the things when I went to this conference that I was really focusing on was formative assessment. I wanted to bring things back for that reason, for that purpose. And so I learned a lot. It was a great conference. Absolutely great. Learned all kinds of wonderful things, very useful things. But in terms of the formative assessment part, 5 things really stood out to me. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with you today. I don't have a very fancy presentation or anything, but it gets the point across, and I hope that these things help you guys in your, journey in finding formative assessments that work well for you and kind of help you improve in the classroom as well. I would have loved to have had these tools when I had just finished college or my first year of teaching. I think my classroom would have looked a lot different, and I'm really excited to see how my classroom looks different this year using these tools, and how you can really use these tools in a variety of ways. And some of them use technology, some of them don't. Some of them don't require any pre-planning, some of them do. So it's really a great tool to have in your tool belt and be able to use when needed. So, and at the very end, I'll share with you one game that I found as a geography teacher that I am super excited about, and really excited to see kind of how it helps my kids. So, here we go. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is called stop time. This is also known as the rosebud thorn. Okay, I'm going to call it stop time because I can create a visual for stop time. So I'm going to actually, once I get back to my classroom and start creating things and designing things for my room, I'm going to create a stoplight that I can put up on my board when I want my students to do this, and they'll know what these colors mean. This doesn't require any technology, doesn't really require any pre-planning either, because you already have your sentence starters right here. And so if you are in the middle of a lesson and your kids are just looking at you like they have no idea even what planet you're from, which I think we all know that look, you can just stop right there and kind of assess what's going on, and you can certainly use this tool to help you do that. It is, again, very simple. You pass out Post-its if you want to, or tell them to get out a sheet of notebook paper or a note card, whatever it might be, and have them complete this activity. So the red light here means something you don't understand. So it's a sentence of something that you're just not understanding. The yellow light is something that you need help with. And then the green light, that is something that you've learned. And this gets them writing, and it really helps them zero in on what is working and what's not working in their brains. And as a teacher, that's a big deal to have them focus in on what's wrong, because then you know how you can help them and correct them. So getting them to put down on paper what's working, what's not working, is actually a really great tool. So the next thing is it's called tic-tac-toe up here, and basically what you do is you create a tic-tac-toe board for your students, and you could copy it and they could have it, or you could put it up on their board, or however you want to do it. The great thing about this is it creates student choice. And teachers, you can control this as much or as little as you want. Now, of course, this does create some pre-planning because you do have to come up with the different options. But in the tic-tac-toe board, okay, you create 9 different activities. Now, the way it was presented to me was that up at the top right was, there are 3 writing activities that are up at the top and they're straight across. And then through the middle there are 3 reading activities, and at the bottom there are 3 different products to create. Now, we know as teachers that writing is a huge thing for students to complete. That really does show how much they understand. It also shows us that they are getting to those higher levels of Bloom's, higher level of depth of knowledge, and so writing is a big key. Reading, helping them understand a new concept or to go deeper in a concept, is also a great tool. And we also know that creation and evaluation through creating a product is one of the highest levels of understanding that one can create and produce in terms of giving an evaluation. So you don't necessarily have to put the writing, the reading, and the producing all across in a straight line, but that's how it was shown to me, so that's how I'm going to show it to you. I don't think I'll probably do it this way, but I'm not sure yet. I don't know. But basically, once you create your tic-tac-toe, your pre-planning is done as a teacher. All you're left to do is actually grade the assignments. So the students have student choice at that point, and they can go diagonally, they can go straight across, they can go up and down. As long as it creates a tic-tac-toe, they have completed the activity. Now, you can also have more teacher control over the activity if you say, whatever's in this certain square, this center square, everybody has to complete this. That might be something that you as a teacher have created or you've used over your years of teaching, and you know that that is a great tool and a great evaluation tool. That's something that you want your students to complete. Or that's something that maybe if you're on a team and your team says, okay, this is the one thing that everybody on, in this grade level is going to complete, then that would be the thing that goes into your center square. Then the students still have student choice. You are in a little more control as the teacher, but students do have choice as to then what do they do. They have to go through the center, but they can go diagonally, they can still go up and down, they still can go across, and of course they can do the other diagonal. Alright, now see, if they went completely across here, they do all 3 reading, and that might be okay with you. It might not be, so you would need to kind of mix it up so that even if they went straight across, they're still doing a writing, a reading, and a production activity. So tic-tac-toe is great. Doesn't require any technology to communicate this with the students, but your options could include technology if your students have access to those things. Zaption is my new favorite thing. It works with online management systems, which is fantastic. My district is huge on Canvas, and so when you log in to Zaption or go to zaption.com, you can look at their FAQs, and one of the questions is, does this work with online management systems? And the answer is yes, and it lists how many or what online management systems it works with. Now, it works with all the ones I've ever heard of, but if you're working with one that might not be as well known, you might want to check. But these are great. This is great for a flipped classroom or a blended learning, or something where even as a homework assignment, you want your students to look at a video and gain some knowledge from that. Zaption is really the tool you're wanting to use here. It is completely free. You can buy it for $79.99, and that when you buy it, it gives you a few more tools than the free option. But as someone who's played around with it, I get all the tools that I would want to use in my classroom for my videos with the free option, so that's great. What Zaption does is you can create your own video, or you can use a video that's already created. As long as it has a URL, that video can be used in Zaption. What you do is you put the video into Zaption, and then at different key points in the video, you make the video pause and you pose a question to your students. Now that question can be multiple choice, it can be true, false, or it can be open-ended. The video will not continue until the students answer the question. It doesn't have to be correct, but they do have to answer it. Once the students complete the video, all of that data, all their answers, are sent to you because you've created your Zaption account. The students don't need a Zaption account because when you create your video with the questions you want on it, it creates a new URL. So you would just share that URL with your students, or you can even create the URL as a QR code, and then they don't have to even worry about the URL. They just need to scan the QR code. So that's a fantastic option. The other great thing about Zaption is that you can overlay text on the screen as the video plays. So for example, my students have a very hard time in relaying what is noteworthy and what is something that we really can just listen to. And so when I create my videos, one of the things I do is I overlay a text in the very first parts of the segment of video that I think are very important. And I just simply write on the screen, "This is noteworthy. Take notes for the next 5 minutes," because they can see how long this video is going on their screen. That way my students know, okay, I'm taking the correct notes over the correct pieces of information that my teacher is looking for. That really helps students focus in on what's important. They are really listening so that they're ready for those questions that are about to pop up, and they know they're being successful with their homework because you are kind of supporting them in what to do when you're watching the video. So Zaption is my new favorite tool and is 100% free. The spinner. The spinner doesn't require any technology unless you want it to include technology. You can certainly do it on a smart board. You can do it on a regular board. So basically what it is it's a square with 4 words inside of it. And then you have a spinner on the inside. Now if you don't have a smart board and you want to do this on your own, like on your actual whiteboard, you can Google the word board spinner or whiteboard spinner, and different products will pop up. They're about $15, but they are magnetic. You probably can get them at any teacher store as well, but they are magnetic, and you create the square on your actual board, then you attach the spinner to it, and then the kids can actually go up and spin the physical spinner, and it does stay in place. It's a very powerful magnet. But this is great for warm-ups, for exit questions, maybe even just a regular check-in after you've maybe taken some notes or something like that. You can kind of have some questions for them. I'm definitely going to use this for vocabulary. So let me explain kind of how it works and then talk to you a little bit about how I'm going to use it. So basically what happens is when you spin the spinner, right, it lands on a question or on a word. And then whatever word it lands on, like for example, this one is pointing towards evaluation, the teacher would ask an evaluation question to their child or to their student. So you do need to pre-plan just a little bit. You need to have a bank of questions that you can ask for each word that's on the square, and then the student answers the question based on what word it's landed on. And you can make these words lower level words if you just have some very basic knowledge, basic understanding of it, or if you've been teaching it for a while and you're ready to go ahead and analyze, evaluate, and so on. You can use the higher level words as well. And that's why it would be good for a warm-up option or a check-in option to just check where they are in their understanding. So the other way I'm going to use this is vocabulary. So instead of having words on here like explain and evaluate, I'm going to have my vocabulary words in here. And when my kids spin it, they'll spin and land on a word, and they'll have to define that word. And I think that will help them study a little bit better, give them a little more incentive. We'll turn it into a game in class, and we'll have teams or whatever. And you know, competition always spurs more understanding for some reason in the classroom. So I'm also looking into the option of making it smaller for individual games if I want them in groups of 4 or 5 or 3 or 4, and actually creating little spinners on cardstock and then die cutting arrows and then attaching those to the cardstock with a brad, and then based on whatever word the spinner lands on, there'll be 4 decks of cards for each spinner, and the students will pull a card out of the deck that's entitled the word that they've landed on, and then the card will have the question that the student will try and answer, and then the answer as well, so their game partners can check their partner's answer when it's given, because I might not be at that group. So, but I'm still working through that. So, but that's another way that you could use it if you figure out how or when you can use that in your room. Last thing is Plickers. It's plickers.com. It's fast, it's simple, and it's free. This is a great way to evaluate students. I use it when I give my students a physical quiz that I might not really necessarily care about actually taking an actual grade on it. I just kind of want to see where they are. Sometimes I'll give them pop quizzes, and then I pose the very same questions through Plickers on my screen, and the kids, it goes a lot faster because the kids have already answered the questions, and then we kind of see where everybody is. I'm not going to do a whole lot of explanation on this because it's kind of hard to explain by just talking about it, but if you will go on YouTube and just search the word Plickers, there are some great videos out there of actual teachers using it in the classroom, as well as the actual company has created a how-to video and everything on how it works, how to set things up, but it is very fast. I've created my stuff in about 15 minutes. It is completely free. It is very simple. It works on Apple devices as well as Android devices, and so Plickers is a great tool, and it really gives you a lot of data to disaggregate and know where your kids are. So the last thing I'm going to tell you about is this new game that I found online. It's called Galactic Mappers for geography teachers specifically. What it does is it makes your students play this game. The game can last from anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes. The game is $24.99, and then the shipping is like $5 or no, $10, and so it adds up to like 35 bucks. But when you play this game, you can have up to like 100 players or something, and it can last for up to 60 to 90 minutes, and it's good for ages like, I think they said like 10 or 12 and up or whatever. But basically what they do is it takes them through this game with different rounds and different cards, where your class creates this this big map, and each group is its own continent, and the continent has different landforms, and so they are mapping, they are creating landforms, and then these different landforms, can have different resources available that are attached to them, and then they use those resources to help understand political and economic systems. So it's a really fun game. There is a YouTube video. If you will search Galactic Mappers, it'll come up. I think it's by Edutopia, and it's a 6th grade teacher who's actually using it in his class, and his kids are having so much fun with it. So I'm really excited. I've ordered it, and I'm really excited to see how my kids use it in 9th grade. So, but it really does cover a lot of what we teach, and I'm excited to kind of help them make those connections. So hope this has helped. Hope this has maybe given you a little bit of inspiration for your formative assessments, and possibly gotten you excited for the 15-16 school year. So have fun designing what you're going to design, and don't ever give up. Just keep making sure that you're a constant learner, and you're going to get better.